Is Sami Zayn about to lose the WWE Championship to Brock Lesnar? A new rumor suggests Sami Zayn could defend the undisputed WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar at Saturday night's main event inside Madison Square Garden. If that happens, many fans are worried history could repeat itself. Just like Kofi Kingston's WWE title reign ended in seconds against Brock, Sami could suffer the same fate. The rumored plan is for Brock to win the championship before SummerSlam, where Obafemi would challenge him for the title. If Oba defeats Brock on the biggest stage of the summer, it would instantly establish him as WWE's next breakout main event star and create a true passing of the torch moment. Do you think Sami survives Brock Lesnar, or is his title reign about to end?
Something happened at Night of Champions 2026 that nobody is going to forget anytime soon. Sami Zayn, the guy who spent years being the lovable underdog, the guy who got so close so many times only to have it ripped away, finally did it. He stood in the middle of that ring with the WWE Championship around his waist, and the entire arena lost their minds. It was the kind of moment that reminds you why you fell in love with professional wrestling in the first place. Pure, unfiltered, emotion. But here is the thing about moments like that in WWE. Sometimes they are exactly what they look like, a genuine crowning achievement for a deserving superstar. And sometimes they are just the setup for something else entirely, a stepping stone dressed up as a destination. And right now, with everything happening around Brock Lesnar and SummerSlam on the horizon, there is a very real, very uncomfortable possibility that what we witnessed at Night of Champions was not the beginning of a long championship reign for Sami Zayn. It might have been the beginning of the end. Let's talk about what we actually know heading into SummerSlam 2026. Brock Lesnar is coming back. That much is not in question. He teased retirement at WrestleMania 42, which is the kind of thing WWE does not do by accident. When a talent of that magnitude drops a retirement tease in front of that kind of crowd, there is always a plan attached to it. And the plan in this case has been building for months. It involves Obafemi. Femi and Lesnar have already gone to war twice. Once at WrestleMania, once at Clash in Italy earlier this year. Both were explosive. Both were exactly the kind of hard-hitting, physical sprint that you would expect when two absolute monsters collide. One win apiece between them. The rubber match has been dangling out there ever since, and with SummerSlam landing in Minneapolis, Lesnar's hometown, there is absolutely no way WWE is not pulling the trigger on that third fight right there in front of that crowd. That is too perfect a story for them to walk away from. The question that has changed everything since Night of Champions is this: how do you get the WWE Championship onto Brock Lesnar before that match happens? Because if you believe, as many do, that WWE's philosophy has always been that championships make big matches feel even bigger, then you have to consider the possibility that Lesnar versus Femi at SummerSlam will not just be a trilogy finale. It will be for the title, and someone has to be holding that title for Lesnar to take it. Before Night of Champions, the assumption was that Cody Rhodes or Roman Reigns would be walking into SummerSlam as champion, and the story would unfold from there. But Sami Zayn winning the title at Night of Champions changed the equation entirely. And not necessarily in the way fans were hoping. Think about what WWE is actually working with here. You have Brock Lesnar on the way out. You have Obafemi as the freshly crowned king of the ring. You have SummerSlam as the retirement stage. For that story to work the way WWE typically books these things, Lesnar needs to be positioned as the dominant threat walking into that match. The conqueror. The unstoppable force that only Femi can dethrone on wrestling's biggest summer stage. So, how do you establish that? You have Lesnar demolish someone on the way there. You have him take a championship, make it look effortless, remind the world exactly who he is, and then carry that belt into SummerSlam where Obafemi finally puts him down for good and walks away as the new face of WWE. And the person who gets demolished in that scenario, right now, that person looks like it could be Sami Zayn. It is not a pleasant thought. Nobody wants to entertain it. After everything Zayn has been through, after every near miss and heartbreak and moment where fans genuinely believed his time had come only to watch it slip away again, the idea that his championship reign might be reduced to a transitional storyline feels almost cruel. But this is professional wrestling, and sometimes the business asks its most beloved characters to absorb the biggest disappointments so that the larger story can be told. There is already a built-in mechanism for how this could happen. SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis has had his issues with Zayn throughout this whole journey. That kind of authority figure tension rarely exists without a purpose. It would not take much creative work to have Aldis manufacture a scenario where Lesnar gets a championship match, and then have Lesnar walk out of that match with the title in the kind of dominant, clinical, old-school Brock fashion that reminds everyone he is still the most terrifying presence in professional wrestling when he wants to be. The timing also points directly at the Saturday night's main event episode, falling just 2 weeks before SummerSlam. That is your window. That is where WWE could pull the trigger and deliver the moment that sends Lesnar into Minneapolis as champion, setting up everything perfectly for the trilogy finale with Femi on the grandest stage of the summer. Now, the counterargument, and it is a fair one, is that WWE does not have to strip Zayn of the title to make Lesnar versus Femi feel important. You could book Femi to win King of the Ring and have that be the mechanism for earning a title shot. You could have Lesnar target Femi directly without the championship involved and still tell a compelling story. These options exist, but here is the honest truth about how WWE operates in 2026. The easier path always wins. The path of least creative resistance. And the easiest path right now is to put the belt on Lesnar, give him his hometown retirement send-off as champion, and have Femi rip the title away from him in the main event of SummerSlam in the kind of defining moment that launches the next era of WWE. That is clean. That is simple. That is exactly the kind of story Triple H and his creative team love to tell. Which brings us back to Sami Zayn. If this all plays out the way the signs are pointing, then WWE owes it to him and to the fans who have invested years into his journey to make the most of whatever time he has with that title before it is taken away. Give him at least a couple of title defenses. Let him have the moments of celebration he has earned. Do not just hand him the belt on a Saturday night in Saudi Arabia and then snatch it back 2 weeks later before he has even had a chance to breathe. The Darby Allin situation in AEW is the blueprint here. Short reign, yes, but a meaningful one. One that respects the character and gives the audience something to hold on to. Because at the end of all of this, when Femi lifts the WWE Championship over his head in Minneapolis after finally finishing Brock Lesnar for good, fans are going to reflect on every piece of the journey that led to that moment. And Sami Zayn deserves to be remembered as more than just a footnote in that story. He deserves to be remembered as a champion. Even if his time at the top was shorter than any of us wanted, the road to SummerSlam 2026 just got a whole lot more complicated. And for Sami Zayn, it may be about to get a whole lot more painful.